Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing all of Toyland Tussle, a game similar to that of Cuphead, but unlike the many that tried to follow it and fell completely flat on their faces. Enchanted Portal, Rubber Hose Rampage, whatever this is. This one is apparently one of the better ones out there according to this Steam reviewer, at least, who seemed to have a vendetta against a certain game. I wonder why. And since I'm somewhat revered as an expert in this space, I'm gonna try and beat the game in its entirety, which includes completing both the standard mode and extreme mode, using every single weapon to get the highest possible rank, and do it all without dying a single time. Yeah, this last part's gonna suck. Also, if you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel because we are so close to 100k. I really want the silver button, so please subscribe. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, here we go. Let's see what this Toyland Tussle is all about. Now, before proceeding to the boss fight, a couple things you should know about the game is: one, it's not your usual boss rush type progression like Cuphead, as the whole premise of the game is to beat up just one measly monkey called Gear, which is this fella right here. Two, there are a total of 3 phases to the fight, with the second one being weirdly the hardest one out of the 3. You'll find out soon enough as to why that is. And 3, the game was created by a single game dev, which says a lot considering some of the other ones out there had a whole team. As for the controls, there are 2 that we can choose from, which are a controller and a keyboard, in which case I chose to go with the latter since I'm not much of a controller type of gamer, as I spend most of my gaming career playing FPS games and League of Legends like the Asian that I am. We also got the stats corner here, where we can change the display of the game to that of black and white from color, see how many times we died, and the time and rank we get from beating the boss. By the way, in regards to the no dying part, I'll explain the rules a bit further when we get through the standard mode first. For now, just know that I'm allowed to die and I did not clickbait you, so you don't go running to the comment section or I swear I'll report every last one of you if it's the last thing I do. We can also choose the type of weapon we want to use against the primate, but we'll save those for when we get to the extreme mode, which I realized was way harder than I could have ever imagined, but more on that later. And now that we got all that sorted, it's time to tussle with the giant gorilla. Oh wow, I love the intro already. Got the whole 1930s old cartoon vibes going on here. Directed by Raz Bennett Warner. What a legend, this guy. Now the story revolves around a cannon-faced guy named Father who happened to be strolling about downtown to see what he could spend his money on. On his way, he came across a toy store, to which upon entering, he found a strange music box sitting on a pedestal. And despite the clear sign that says it's off limits, the guy ignores it and pokes at the box, causing it to open and pull him inside. And thus, we end up in a world of toys where we are confronted by the toy gorilla. For the first phase, the fight begins with the boss popping out of a box, in which he will regularly do so throughout the whole phase, attacking us in between those intervals with 3 distinct attacks. The first one is a ground pound using a hammer, which sends out 2 shockwaves. The second one is slamming 2 symbols that shoot out a sound wave where it moves towards the last spot we've stayed stationary. And for the last one, he plays a tune to summon a total of 6 musical notes that appear at the top of the screen, which then slowly falls one by one, starting with the one closest to the boss. Along with that, he is able to combine any 2 combinations from the 3 attacks, which at first had me stumped as I struggled to find ways to escape certain situations. And something I should mention is that although the game was very well designed and controls felt pretty nice, it still had a few issues with the jumps being a bit floaty, where the momentum at which I moved mid-air persisted, making it difficult to execute precise movements and inputs. And also, you can't dash through attacks like you can with the smoke bomb or Miss Chalice's invincible dodge roll in Cuphead, making it a nightmare to dodge certain attacks in tight spaces. As for my weapon, it was similar to that of the pea shooter, where the bullets fired rapidly in the direction at which I pointed. But one thing that was different was the rate at which the super meter filled up, which basically did so automatically without me having to deal damage to the boss. Kind of like the pea sugar charm in Cuphead, but on steroids, because I could use the EX move every 10 seconds or so. But other than that, after a few more bullets spitting and realizing I can't stand on this box here, I was able to transition to the second phase, where now I was gonna have to deal with 2 chimps from both ends of the screen. And in this phase, the chimps are able to dismember their head and throw it in my direction, which will then ricochet off any flat surface, spit 3 peanut projectiles that shoot out in a cone, throws a coconut that splits in half upon hitting the ground, and a banana peel that relentlessly runs across the screen to add to the overall hectic nature of the fight. Now, the most difficult part of getting through this phase was honestly keeping track of the banana peel while the monkeys hurled their attacks at me, as I usually found myself trapped by a combination of the 2 whenever I jumped mid-air to avoid attacks. The way I could somewhat negate this was to use the dashing mechanic to get out of the sticky situation, but even then, since I couldn't dash through the attacks, it was still a bit annoying to say the least. Nonetheless, I managed to get through it on my 3rd attempt or so, and off we go to the final phase, in which the gorilla returns to the scene with 3 separate attacks. One of them is where he turns his arms into a cannon to shoot a barrage of barrels that falls from the sky. The next one is where he raises his fist that extends off screen and swooshes back in on either the right or left side. And the last one is where he opens his mouth and the banana peel returns, where it radiates a beam of light in 6 separate directions. Now, the first 2 attacks are telegraphed pretty well, so they weren't that hard to evade, as I just needed to strafe side to side for the barrel attack and make sure to run the opposite side of wherever the boss extended his fist. However, the last one was a bit on the trickier side, since the speed at which the lights flashed were a lot faster than I had expected, giving me little to no time to react and get to the spaces that were safe. Regardless, other than losing 1 life to the flashy banana peel, I was able to eventually come out on top. And as for the final score, we got a bronze rank, which is probably the worst one out there. But you know what? It's fine. It's our first time, whatever. And with Gears defeated, Father is able to take a breather as the pain was all over. A pain at which was a figment of his imagination, as it so happens that Gears was just asking about where he came from. To which Father just brushes us off by saying that he was just startled. But nonetheless, Gears gets his chimps to escort Father back home, where once he returned, he got chased away by the owner of the toy store, and the story ends with him learning a valuable lesson. The end. Or so you thought, but this is actually where the real challenge begins, as we get to play the extreme mode. And as you guys saw earlier with the final score, in order to get the highest rank, we need to get through the whole fight in under 2 minutes and 10 seconds, preserve all 3 of our HP by not getting hit even once, and beat the boss on the higher difficulty. And to spice things up a bit more, I'm gonna have to beat the boss with every single one of the weapons available in the game, and anytime I die, I'll have to erase my game file and start fresh from the bullet and work my way up again all the way to the very last weapon. I'm also not allowing myself to restart the fight unless I'm able to somehow beat the boss with the weapon I have equipped, in which case, even though I don't get the gold rank, I can continue with the weapon and not restart the whole challenge. So with the rules set in place, it's time to get tussling again, but this time on extreme mode. Here we go. Alright, so I am noticing that the attacks are a bit faster now. That's gonna be an issue. Oh my gosh, I'm getting obliterated here. Okay, so the strat I'm thinking of is to find all the ways to dodge all his attacks. Like when he summons this musical nose and then does this hammer attack, we do this. Yep, there we go. We found one. Oh, nice. We got it through the first phase a lot quicker than I thought. Okay, for the second phase, I think the strat is to stay in the middle like we did in the standard mode. I think that's this is the best way. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I got hit by that. Man, the monkeys throwing their heads at me. It's so, there's so much going on right now. I can't, my head is about to explode. And they shoot up 5 peanuts now. That's gonna be annoying to dodge. Okay, I'm getting a lot better at using my dashes. That's good. That's good. All right, we are through to the third phase. We got this in the bag. Let's go. Scratch that. We don't got this in the bag. I'm absolutely terrible. And that is gonna be our first death. So as I have said, we are going to be erasing this file and starting from the very beginning. Lovely. Just lovely. All right, we sort of got the first phase down now. So I don't think we're gonna have to worry about this one anymore. Yep, that didn't take us too long. The problem is the second phase, which I still am struggling a bit. Yeah, it's always the monkey's head that gets me. Like, I mean, the bounces aren't as predictable as they seem. I mean, look at that. Look, what is that? Whatever, we got through it at least. The third phase is where we have to really focus. Okay, this one's easy to dodge, and nope, it came out the other side. That is probably the last time I'll ever get hit by that attack. Basically muscle memory at this point. My gosh, we're getting the banana peel attack right off the bat. Well, what am I supposed to do here? What's the strat, man? The extreme mode was definitely giving me a good whooping, but with time I began to learn new ways to get through each phase, even finding a cheese strat against a shining banana peel. My goodness, I should have done this ages ago. Yep, I feel like this one's gonna be the one. Nice, let's go. We did it. And that is gonna be our first gold rank. Beautiful. The next weapon on the list was the Firework, which works similar to that of the chaser gun in Cuphead, but little did I know that its abysmal damage output was gonna lead to my first major roadblock. Is it just me, or is the first phase taking a lot longer to beat than usual? Like, I'm noticing that we are going through a lot more cycles in the first phase than when we use the first weapon. Yeah, at this point, I don't know if we'll be able to beat the boss in time. Even the second phase is taking a while. Like, oh my goodness. I don't know how many, but I went through so many monkey hits just now. You wouldn't believe. Alright, we were somehow able to beat the boss, but I'm not very hopeful of the time. Wow, I knew that was gonna be bad, but I did not think that it was gonna be this bad. Is this even possible? The time I got with the Firework weapon definitely threw me off, which made me wonder if I may have stumbled upon a dead challenge. One of the biggest issues was with the EX move, where its circular motion caused some of the damage to leak, making me deal less damage to the boss if I didn't hit it perfectly. But while I was fixated on trying to hit my EX moves, I realized something. Alright, so this is what I'm gonna do. Anytime that I have my EX move charged up, I'm gonna use it right away, which means that overall throughout the entire fight, we're gonna be able to use more EX moves and then basically deal more damage to the boss. Yep, we're gonna try that. And by implementing this plan, I was able to lower the time with each attempt, eventually getting it down to as low as 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, we need to lower 10 more seconds, and I have no idea how I'm gonna do that. Most likely, we're gonna have to play the most perfect round, which is basically not missing a single one of our EX moves and then using it immediately whenever it fills up. And we're gonna do all this while trying to not die. And of course, I die as soon as I say that. Oh my goodness, we're gonna start from the very beginning again. The rule to start over from the first weapon upon death was definitely taking its toll on me. But once I got back to using the Firework again, on that very attempt, I noticed something different. Alright, this is a pretty good pace here. Haven't missed a single EX move so far. Okay, that was actually pretty good for the first phase. Just gotta maintain the same level of consistency in the second phase. Oh no, we didn't hit all our EX move there. That was our first EX move that didn't hit fully. So hopefully that doesn't affect the time. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. Please, please, please. And yes, we got it by 2 2 seconds. Other than not hitting that one EX move fully, we could not have played that any more perfectly. With the gold rank obtained using the Firework, I could finally move on to the next weapon called the Bounce Bomb. And since this one had one of the highest damage outputs among the ones I've used so far, I knew that it wasn't gonna take too long for me to get the gold rank. Okay, this bullet's got a bit of a bounce to it. Kind of reminds me of the lobber in Cuphead. Oh, look at the EX move. I love that. Man, what are the chances of me getting this on my first try? I mean, so long as I don't make any dumb mistakes, I think it's a pretty good possibility. And nope, the dream's gone. Well, at least we don't have to start all over again. Like I said, we could have moved on to the next weapon if we didn't get hit. Oh my goodness. Oh well, you know, it happens. We just gotta get it right here. Oh my gosh, why did I jump there? Just gotta stay alive, just gotta stay alive, just gotta stay alive. And I finished it even faster this time. Great, just great. This is gonna be the one because you know what they say, third time is the charm. I am gonna say that one thing that I don't like about this weapon is that it gets really hectic. To the point where I can't tell if it's my EX move that's bouncing around or the monkey's head. Either way, we got through it. I don't know if I'm gonna be jinxing myself, but I think we got this. And a few more hits to the face, and there we go. Got a slower time than before, but you know what matters is that we didn't take a single hit, and that means we got the gold rank, baby. And with the third gold rank under my belt, there was just one weapon left in order to be done with this entire challenge. But unbeknownst to me, the last weapon came with a problem that completely ruined my chances of reaching my goal. And that was because for some odd reason, I wasn't able to lower the time of every one of my attempts at using the weapon. You see, although the splitter's damage output was one of the highest in the game next to the bounce bomb, the EX damage was a 6 for every hit we landed on the boss. And when I reviewed my game footage, I saw that the EX was only landing 4 times per use on the first phase, equaling 24 damage, and 3 times on the second and third phase, which equals 18 damage. Comparing that with the EXs of the other weapons, which had a flat damage output of 25 for the bullet, 32 for the Firework, and 30 for the bounce bomb, it makes the splitter one of the worst weapons in terms of damage capability, which meant that the only way I was gonna reduce my time was to utilize the weapon's two-way shooting mechanic to hit both of the chimps as many times as I can with my EX move. But the problem with this is that it's incredibly risky, as jumping in this space makes me completely vulnerable to attacks that in turn would happen less frequently if I limited my jumps. And since dying would result in losing my entire progress and also leading to overcoming the hurdle with the Firework again, it really affected my confidence to execute my plans, making me doubt whether I could actually pull this off. But then came a sliver of hope. Come on, please give me the time, please. Oh my goodness, we actually did it. Alright, now that we know it works, it's time to freaking lock in. And after going through a multitude of resets and spending hours overcoming every roadblock that came my way, I was finally able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Alright, this is gotta be it. This is gotta be the one. Come on, come on, come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. Yes, we finally did it. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I was able to pull this off. Big shout out to Raz for making such a cool boss fight. Even though it was just one fight, it was one heck of a good one. And if you guys want to see more of me playing Cuphead related games, let me know in the comments below and maybe I'll try them out. Also, like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe because we are so close to 100k. Come on, I want to plaster that silver button on my forehead so I can show it up to my family. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!